Paulie Malignaggi here for Paulie TV. My hair is crooked. Look at this. All right, we're back. Paulie Malignaggi live with you guys, and we're going to be discussing some tier rankings today. So I do not look at this list. I'm going to be getting names, and I got to basically, through my esteemed colleague and producer, Jimmy Reynolds here, we're going to be, he's going to be giving me names of fighters, and I have to decide if they're what? Whether rated, overrated, underrated?
If they're
properly
goats,
rated?
Elite, good, average, below average, or trash.
That's a lot of...
I know.
That's a lot of...
But it's only for modern
criteria.
boxers. For modern boxers.
Anyway, so we're going to be going through that. I did not look at this list, so whatever comes to my mind when I first get it is, keep in mind I didn't get to give it a lot of thought. Like, if you guys watch this in 2 days from now, I may have even changed my mind by 2 days from now, once I give it some thought. But these things are going to be given to me on the cuff, like literally right off the top of my head. I gotta respond in what I think. All right, let me know what you guys think. If you guys agree, disagree, and write your comments. Give me some questions too if you want.
Okay, first one, Paulie. AJ,
and what's the criteria again?
Goats, elite, good, average, below average, trash, and that's for where they're at right now.
To modern day boxing, I think AJ's elite. You don't have to be undefeated to be elite. AJ is a top tier guy, man. He's beaten some good fighters. He's represented the sport well. I like AJ, elite.
Deontay Wilder.
I also think he's elite. Gotten himself some. Are we gonna go with all elites now? We're gonna go with like guys who, because Deontay obviously is elite too. GOAT is a hard one to step into. It's probably you basically need a run of success. So you can't be GOAT if you haven't had enough years as a professional fighter yet, or especially enough years as a pro fighter at the top tier level. So it's going to be hard to put guys into the GOAT status, I assume. But Deontay's elite.
What's your criteria for GOAT? Like, if you can break it down.
Criteria for GOAT for me is a long time at world class level and a lot of success at that world class level while you hang at world class level. Because I was able to hang at world class level for a long time, but it doesn't make me a GOAT because I was up and down, but I was able to hang at world class level for a while. So just hanging at world class level is just the beginning of being a GOAT, because a lot of guys are not able to hang at that level at all, right? Or if they get there, they don't last that long at all. Some guys have very short primes, but Conor McGregor, we're talking about you. In reality, a long period of time as an elite level fighter at the top level of the sport with a lot of success, it's definitely something that for me starts to put you in the GOAT conversation. Guys like Pacquiao, guys even Canelo at this point. Mayweather, obviously.
So up next is Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury. Oh man, elite. I mean, honestly, he starts to come into the GOAT conversation if he can stay consistent. His inconsistency keeps him out of the GOAT conversation. But for me, I mean, I'd have a hard time picking any heavyweight in history against Tyson Fury. He's just got the fundamental boxing that he's got, the athleticism and the size of him is really tough to overcome for anybody in history, I think. But as far as GOAT status, you got to build up that resume. I think he's close, but I'm gonna put him in elite right now.
Dillian White.
What was below elite?
Good.
Dillian White's good. His potential, there. He may be able to step into elite with a great performance against Tyson Fury. We'll see. But I think Dillian White is good right now. I particularly myself, I'm a fan of Dillian White. I think he's gotten a lot of bad breaks in his career. Has never fought for a heavyweight title, which is totally ridiculous. But I think Dillian White's a very, very good fighter. Good is where I rate him.
Who's this, Paulie?
Who?
This.
That's King Kong, Luis Ortiz. You're gonna have to excuse my esteemed colleague. He's he's not a boxing guy. He's a producer, so we're gonna teach him some boxing, guys. All right, that's King Kong, Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz is good. Luis Ortiz is good. Honestly, he's had some. He had his little run of success. He came up short against Wilder a couple of times. I thought in the first fight against Wilder, he was on the cusp of knocking him out. Some New York State Athletic Commission shenanigans gave Deontay more time in between rounds, or I think he was gone. But nonetheless, Deontay came back, rebounded, and knocked him out. And then in the rematch, Ortiz was having some success again, and was knocked out again. So was not able to cross over into the elite status for me. It's certainly a good fighter, a very, very good fighter.
Triple G.
Golovkin. I started to put him in a GOAT status. He had a long run, a lot of defenses, and honestly was only lost his titles once he got robbed. So I think Golovkin is definitively a GOAT, and he has both the success at world class level and the durability at world class level he's had as well.
Usyk.
Usyk is getting into GOAT status as well. Dominated the cruiserweight division. Now has unified 3 or 4 belts in the heavyweight division. Granted, he did it all in one fight against Joshua, but he also had a couple of wins at heavyweight before that. Usyk is on the cusp of being a GOAT.
Andrew Ruiz isn't on this, but somebody's asking where do you put him?
I thought Andrew Ruiz is a good fighter. Again, I think he spent a good enough amount of time at world class level, but you have to be terrific at that world class level. Not just hanging at world class level will make you elite or GOAT. I think hanging at world class level puts you in the elite status if you're able to stay there for a while. I think he's certainly a good fighter and he beat a guy that I put in the elite status, which is AJ. I just think AJ's overall resume is better than Ruiz's, but I think Ruiz with a focused head can get himself to elite. I mean, honestly he's a danger to anybody he fights if he's focused. Lomachenko is a GOAT. He's again, durability's been there, successful at a world class level. He's fought exclusively at world class level almost since the moment he turned pro. Basically since the moment he turned pro. So. And he's had a ton of success at that level. I put him in the GOAT status, but he's, we'll see how far he can go. I think it's a real shame with the political situation in Ukraine, unfortunately, because I think he had a real terrific chance to get that undisputed lightweight title against Kambosos, who was a good fighter. I think the Kambosos-Haney fight, going off topic here, I think the Kambosos-Haney fight is a fight that's actually a better fight. I think Lomachenko versus Kambosos wouldn't have been as good of a fight. I think Lomachenko would have won that fight. I'm not gonna say rather handily, but because Kambosos makes you work, but I think he would have been able to win it in a comfortable fashion, even if he would have had to work for it. But Haney and Kambosos, I really can't tell you that off the top of my head. I can pick a definitive winner. I think that's actually a better fight. So it's unfortunate for Lomachenko, but I do think boxing fans will wind up with a better fight there because I think it's more competitive.
Bang Mateo just donated $2. Says salute Paulie the Twitter king. I remember. Bang Mateo.
Yo, my man, I'm definitely the Twitter king. You remember that means Bang Mateo goes way back because Twitter king was that was my nickname when I first got Twitter, bro. Twitter king, yeah, man. Yo, it's funny because I'm not gonna tell you guys what my corporation name is when I get paid, but the letters in my corporation name include the TK for Twitter King. I've had this corporation for a while, so Bang Mateo knows his stuff, bro. He's the Twitter King.
You do have 85,000 tweets. Which isn't that many compared to some people, but still 85,000.
Yeah, well, I had to unfortunately remove myself from the everyday Twitter life because otherwise I was gonna get myself banned and completely censored in this very sensitive world we live in.
Ione.
Who? Inoue. Inoue is elite. We'll see if he can reach GOAT. He's got the potential to reach GOAT status. I mean, he's been terrific since he's arrived on the scene, really. Elite right now. And elite, you can't put him in GOAT yet because he hasn't, been there for a long time. But he's been there a good amount of time. And he's been dominant, very, very good fighter. I loved his fight with Donaire, which was probably his least dominant performance, but also I think cemented him as a very exciting fighter too, because even when somebody's a great fighter that knows how to fight like Donaire, Inoue knows how to be in there and do what he needs to do. I put Inoue as elite, and I look forward to seeing him to see if he can reach that GOAT status.
Gary Russell Jr.
Gary Russell is such a disappointment, man. I mean, this guy, whether it's been politics, I've heard all kinds of stories. It's been politics that the team that he had didn't really move him right. I also heard that a lot of times he didn't want to take some of the fights that could have made him ranked at a higher level. I think he's good / elite. I think his potential was GOAT. It just, I don't know, man.
Good or elite?
I think he would have absolutely smashed Santa Cruz at any given point if they would have made that fight. But they didn't make that fight for him, and I know he was calling for it. But I also have heard that he didn't want certain fights. But then again, I don't know, because how does a guy not want certain fights, but then he fights Lomachenko? You know what I mean? Like, that's the most difficult fight you can fight right now, you know? So, or especially at that time. So I don't know, man. I put him on the cusp of good and elite.
From good. T-Bud.
GOAT. T-Bud GOAT. No explanation needed. T-Bud GOAT. He's got all the criteria. World-class level durability, world-class level record at the world-class level. GOAT. No explanation needed.
Khan.
Amir Khan.
Right now.
Amir Khan. Right now at the moment? Oh, no, Amir Khan's done right now at the moment. But his overall career was elite.
But this is right now. This is what's going on right now.
Right now at this moment? I mean, I think Amir Khan's pretty much done, man. I mean, if we were going to... Anybody looking at Amir Khan right now is going to say probably even below average or average, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
Spence, elite. Elite with a very high potential to be a GOAT, but he's got to get moving. He's lost some time with the injuries and the car accident, the retina tear, all that other stuff. He's elite with the potential to be GOAT. What does everybody think about this stuff? Everybody commenting over here? What do you think about this?
No, they're all asking where you put Chocolatito.
Where do I put Chocolatito? I think I put Chocolatito. I'm torn between elite and good. You know, small guy. I honestly, man, no, because people wrote him off, and then he came back and looked great. We're gonna put Chocolatito at elite, not at a GOAT status. He's a guy that should be remembered as something great. You know, when he came around. Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman was elite for a time. Right now, I'd say he's I'd say he's good right now. But in his time, he was elite, and he was even knocking on the door to be on the GOAT door. You know, I see Thurman as a guy who's lost a little bit of motivation. Sometimes life happens; it does go that way. You know, he got married. You know, maybe he's in some businesses. I don't know what he's doing. He's had a lot of success, obviously. So it could be a lot of things that could be causing distractions once you have that kind of success. So I think Thurman. I don't see him as passionate about boxing as I used to, but that also is sometimes a natural progression in your life. You know, you move on to other things and you're passionate about other things, and you need to compartmentalize. And once you start compartmentalizing boxing instead of prioritizing it, it's hard to, reach that GOAT level or stay at that elite level. You know, but I think he's a tough out for anybody still. I think he's good and could probably step back into elite with a solid performance.
Pacquiao, you said go.
Mm-hmm.
Tank?
Tank is elite right now. I like to see him step up the level of opposition. Pitbull becomes a good win for him because I don't think people realize how good Pitbull was. But I'm starting to wonder if Tank is fighting these guys because he doesn't know how good they are, or at least the people making his matches. I think Tank would fight anybody. But I think they're... You know, some of the matchups seem too carefully chosen for me. I think he's elite. I think he's got potential to be even more than that. But you know, with the guys that are hanging in around his weight class, for him to have fought none of them, it's kind of almost shameful at this point. You know, because he's one of the guys that is just mentioned in the conversation of any of those weight classes, and rightfully so. I think he's got a lot of excitement factor, power, all that stuff. But I mean, come on, man. We're talking about a guy who's that good, but he's content picking up fake belts and not calling out these other big names, and instead talks about how he sells more and that therefore he's worth more money, and that's all that matters. Are you a fighter or are you a businessman? You can be both, but where's your passion? Where does your passion lie? In order to be a GOAT, I think your passion still has to lie in wanting to be that GOAT. But I do think Tank is certainly elite at the moment.
The producer just called me biased. Somebody says the producer's biased. I haven't said that.
You're biased. Welcome to internet trolling.
I think it's because of who's in this. Joe Joyce.
Because of the list.
Yeah,
the list you gave me. Yeah. Okay, all right. Well, you know what? Maybe he's got a point. Let's see. Well, I wonder what his criteria is for your bias. You know, if I know, if he lets me know, then maybe I may even agree with him, Jimmy. I don't know, bro.
Yeah.
What do you say?
No, they say I'm making a mess of this by saying it right now. I'll go.
All right, Joe Joyce. I'd say Joe Joyce is good. I think I'm curious to see where he's going to wind up. He's been really fun to watch. I think he's very good, actually. And he's probably one fight away from joining the lead if he can get the right shot. He's certainly he's not just good right now. Right now, he's very good.
Your guy, AB.
AB, right now, AB is probably an average fighter. Well, you know, I think obviously at one time he was elite status. I don't think he ever had the GOAT potential that they tried to kind of thrust upon him, even when they were talking about him in that way. But I do think AB at his best is as an elite level fighter who can be a lot of fun and is very promotable. But again, just like I talked about with Keith Thurman, I think with AB also life happens and other things can become distractions. I don't know what he's got going on, but he's not a very busy fighter. He's not very active. So obviously, you know, you would assume there's things going on there. Hopefully they're positive and not negative. But nonetheless, I think right now, at this very moment, AB is probably just average. I think if you put him in with any of the top guys, he probably would get beat. He'd know how to handle himself, but I don't see him being like going for it. You know, like I think he wouldn't be active in the fight, and he would just be content to lose on points. You know, but nonetheless, I do think that he had elite. He was elite. He at one point in his life he was elite. I don't know if he's ever going to get to that level. Right now, he's average.
MT just donated $10. Paulie, keep up the good work. I love your insight and agree with you most of the time. However, is there a reason for the Pac-Man hate? Did it stem from Wildcard?
MT, no, definitely not Wildcard. As a matter of fact, you know, I think I'll put it to you like this, you know, and this is just again my opinion. It's also not just my opinion. It's also with people that I know that have been in that circle, and I can't name their names, unfortunately, because I'm going to throw them under the bus if I do that, and I wouldn't want to do that to anybody, you know. But I'm in the business, I'm in the circle, you know, and like people tell me things that not even the media finds out, because there's certain things you won't tell the media that, you know, because you don't want it to be broadcasted out. So even reporters and media journalists and whatnot don't know some of the things that guys like me know, especially somebody like me, where I'm not trying to pump myself up, but I'm a talkative person, I'm an engaging person. So guys will talk to me and discuss things with me and share things with me in locker rooms and in gyms, then that, you know, and also they just know that, you know, they respect my knowledge. They'll talk to me about things that they won't talk to most other people about. You know, I have a good relationship with most fighters and most people in the gym. Now, honestly speaking, with the wild card situation, I was treated like aces at wildcard. Honestly, Freddie was terrific, and I wasn't sure how I would be received over there, because I had issues with what I was saying about Pacquiao, and also I had fought Amir Khan, remember, and I was saying certain things in the Amir Khan press conferences as well that stem both from the Pacquiao stuff and that. So, and at that, you know, that was kind of fresh off of the Amir Khan fight actually, and I went there later in the year after losing to Amir Khan, and I didn't go train with Freddie because Freddie was very, very busy at that time. He had so many fighters. I mean, Freddie was like the most sought-after guy in 2010, you know? But I met Eric Brown, and I thought he was a very capable trainer and goes down as one of my better trainers that I've had. Actually, I won a world championship with Eric in the Zinchenko fight. And I really clicked with Eric. And I clicked with Eric both as a person and as a trainer. You know what I'm saying? He was a very good guy, and a very caring person and a very capable trainer. And also a trainer that knows how to be a boss, you know, knows how to take command. Because I feel like a trainer also knows how to do that too. Eric has that boss mentality about him where it's like, okay, we do this like this. And, you know, but at the same time, he's still willing to have a conversation about certain techniques and aspects of that, because I'm a different fighter at 30 years old than I am at 20 years old. At 30 years old, I ask a lot more questions because I have a lot more on the fundamental understanding of the technical stuff we're going to be learning and working on, you know? And Eric had that boss mentality, but at the same time, he also had the humility to kind of have that conversation with you. And we clicked very well, honestly, me and Eric. But nonetheless, going to the Pacquiao stuff, which Eric also was very big on Pacquiao. Eric had done some work with Pacquiao alongside Freddie. Pacquiao was a guy who was loved there, you know, and I didn't go there disrespecting anything. I was treated terrific. I didn't ask for any special treatment at Wildcard. I remember some of the champions, like some of the even the elite guys like Chavez Jr., even Amir Khan, wanted their own time at Wildcard, where when they trained, they didn't want to anybody else in the gym, you know. And at that time, Wildcard was not 2 floors. Now it has 2 floors. At that time, the first floor was just a laundry room. So if an elite fighter wanted to train at Wildcard, they had to basically reserve the gym and not let anybody else in. I never asked for that, honestly. Every time I trained in Wildcard, and I think they liked that about me. I didn't ask for the gym to be cleared out. I didn't ask for my own time session. I just wanted to train, and I liked training in a packed gym. I've always done better in my life when I trained in packed gyms. I don't know why, bro. Even in Gleason's gym, you know, when I was training there, I had the best time of my career as far as learning and getting better. And Wildcard was another thing like that, where I kind of had a rejuvenation period where I was just in there and I was training alongside everybody, and I felt like it made me better. I needed that atmosphere. The quiet atmosphere was no good for me, you know? And I think they liked that about me. I got along with everybody. And when it was time to use the ring and spar, I waited my turn instead of saying, "Hey, no, listen, I'm Paulie Malignaggi. I get the ring next." And you know, I did my sparring when it was my turn. You know, if sometimes you'd get dressed up in sparring gear and you'd have to wait for the ring. You know, and I did that. I liked being part of I like that camaraderie, and you can't have that camaraderie if you feel like you're superior to anybody else. So I really enjoyed my time at Wildcard, and I got a lot of respect there as well. But the Pacquiao stuff, it goes back to, I always felt that performance-enhancing drugs were a big part of sports, but I just felt that in combat sports, since there was a camaraderie among fighters where fighters talk about, you know, we risk our lives. We always kind of talk about that, and people talk about that. So I felt like, you know, that's kind of a known thing. So you kind of don't, this is, of course, me in my 20s, me also being a lot more naive. I think because guys always talk like this, I feel like there's a sort of unwritten rule and a camaraderie that you don't use performance-enhancing drugs because we know we're risking our lives in there and we can get killed. And guys do get killed. So I felt like because of this fact, I felt like everybody would think about it like the way I was thinking about it, which is, you know, you want to succeed, but you don't want to put yourself in a position where you might kill somebody or really certainly cause a lot of harm to somebody because you're doing something like that. And I did an interview when they signed the Cotto-Pacquiao fight. I did an interview, and I get a lot of criticism for this. At Yankee Stadium when they had the press conference in 2009, or summer 2009, when they announced it. And I said that if he wins this fight, he may be the greatest of all time. You know, and I get a lot of slack for having said that, but I have to give you the explanation. You have to take the context of what I said. So I had always seen Pacquiao as a very offensive-minded fighter, an attacking-minded fighter all the time. He wasn't very defensively responsible ever, you know, in the time I had seen him before that, you know. And a defensively responsible fighter is the only kind of fighter that I felt can go up in weight and handle the punching power of bigger guys. Because as you go up in weight, doesn't matter how much muscle you put on, doesn't matter how much strength you put on, you're still never going to be as strong naturally as the guys whose weight class you're joining who are already there naturally, who are naturally just bigger than you, stronger than you, you know. Doesn't matter how much muscle you put on, you're not going to be stronger than those guys unless you're doing something out of the ordinary. So when I said that I feel like he may be the greatest of all time if he's able to beat Cotto, it's for two reasons. I had fought Cotto, and to that point, and he's still to this point, the strongest puncher I ever fought in my life. Super strong puncher at 140 pounds. And Pacquiao was not a very defensively responsible fighter. So I said he's going to go in there, fight like Pacquiao. He's going to go in there really looking to fight and then looking to make this a crazy fight, and it's going to be exciting. But he's going to run into too much firepower. I mean, he's just not going to be able to handle this kind of firepower and he's not going to be able to get Cotto's respect because now he's up too many weight classes. I mean, Cotto is at welterweight now, and Cotto's a big guy, you know, so at least a stocky figure, you know. I said, there's just too much he's going to be dealing with. I just don't see how he can deal with this. You know, he's going to be getting hit. And in the fight, you know, when the fight happened, he didn't exactly fight a defensively responsible fight. He just went right to Cotto, took the shots. I think he even had his, after the fight, he even had his right ear wrapped up because the eardrum busted from all the Cotto left hooks. Because at that time, if you remember, guys on the right side of people's faces when they fought Cotto was always banged up, including mine when I fought Cotto. He was just so strong with that hook. And it's not like Pacquiao fought a defensively responsible fight. He went in there, took the shots and just returned fire. And not only was taking the shots and returning fire, they weren't even affecting him. They weren't making him tired. Like, even if you have a great chin, you take that kind of firepower, you're going to wither down. You're going to get tired. You're going to, kind of fall apart a little bit, even if you get able to hang tough. It never was like that for Pacquiao. I mean, he went right to Cotto. Cotto did hit him. He hit Cotto. He hurt Cotto, which, not out of the ordinary, but it is a little bit out of the ordinary when a guy's that much bigger than you. But nonetheless, whatever. I mean, I remember that one knockdown he hit him. He wasn't even planted. He hit it. He was in midair when he threw the punch. So you got no leverage on those kind of punches, and he was able to knock him down. Make a long story short, I watched this fight, and about halfway through it, I'm like, wow, this guy thinks we're all suckers. Like, this guy, whatever this guy's on is crazy, man. I mean, this guy's just like a punching machine, at a higher weight class, not with no respect for the punching power at all, for the massive punching power that he's in there against, and it's not even affecting him. Anyway, he gets the stoppage, and I thought the next day people were all going to be questioning it, just like I was questioning it, and instead it was just all full of praise and whatnot. And so I thought, like, hey guys, it's kind of like this though, like, what are you guys saying? And in the ensuing years, people, gave a lot of criticism for that. I guess, I'd have to say that my mindset has changed since then. Not so much in a forgiving fashion, but more so in realizing that basically the entire sport is on performance-enhancing drugs. So I can't singly pinpoint one guy just because he may have done it better than everybody else. He may have had, the better cocktails and the better combination of things than anybody else. I've also spoken to people that were on the inside that basically founded this statement that I'm saying, that people that were there knew him, and basically told me, like, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, anybody could see it even if they don't know, but I'll tell you, yes, I saw it myself, So I thought I was fighting for the betterment of the sport. Now we're here over a decade later. Everybody's on it, man. So I can't get mad at the guy who may have done it better than everybody else. Honestly, I can get mad at the sport itself and the system itself and the fact that it allows this kind of thing. And then when somebody dies and somebody gets a massive brain injury, they pretend they care, and they go through like a week of like, oh, we have to respect these guys. They put their lives on the line, and then they just move on, business as usual. Absolutely no drug testing, and whatever else they do. They let the fighters decide when they get tested and when they don't get tested. And nobody pays for the drug testing, even though the money is absolutely astronomical in boxing. Nobody wants to put up money for the drug testing. The sanctioning bodies don't care. I spoke to Margaret Goodman at VADA. She told me, she has the random drug testing situation, but she just doesn't have enough money to test all these guys on a regular basis, because I was in the top 15 when VADA implemented that WBC top 15 fighters will get randomly tested. I got tested once in 6 months, and I asked Margaret Goodman, why was that? She said, we just don't have the money to consistently test everybody, which is, she told me, the WBC, all these sanctioning bodies have the money. They just don't pay for it. Of course not, because it's better off to create a megastar, even if he may be juicing, than it is to constantly get guys knocked off one after another, which to me would be more exciting. But then again, you never get like a favorite fighter that just beats everybody and you can look at him like a superhero, like you never get that then, let's face it, even Ali would win and lose and win and lose, and everybody still loved them. But I just guess people have changed since then, Nonetheless, that's the story of where it stems from. It does not stem from Wildcard. Obviously after the Cotto fight, I continued to see these kind of performances. The Margarito fight, where he didn't even clench once, and just in a rapid pace fight, he just kept punching and punching and punching. I thought it was crazy. Because sometimes you need a clench just to slow the pace down. It's not even for the fact that you're hurt. Like when I was fighting, I would use these strategic clenches to slow the pace of the fight down, because if it was getting too crazy, and to never clench in 12 rounds and just of a fast paced fight like I fought in the Margarito fight, I thought was absolutely crazy as well. But regardless, like I said, not my perception, but my viewpoint has changed in so much that I don't necessarily blame one person. I can't just blame a Canelo, or I can't just blame a Pacquiao. I can't just blame a single individual when you have an entire sport that is in this filth. So that's the backstory of it, and that's why I don't really criticize it anymore, because until the actual sport makes a difference on things, I can't do things myself. And if I start pinpointing one guy or another guy, usually they're people's favorite fighters, and people don't want their favorite fighters insulted, so they come after you. So people don't really want to change the situation anyway. So I keep my mouth shut on it. I'm not fighting anymore, so I'm not the one at risk.
We'll go back to back with the people they say you hate on the most. Canelo.
Canelo, yeah, it's the same thing with Canelo.
He's still a goat.
Yeah. Well, he's, like I said, because now I have to, because of the fact that the sport is created that way, I have to judge it based on the way the sport is. So yeah, Pacquiao's a GOAT, Canelo's a GOAT, whatever, you know? But, you know, I can't individually single guys out when the rest of the sport is doing that too. I mean, you know, I remember Billy Joe Saunders failed a drug test not that long ago. And, you know, you're like...
Where'd you put him?
You're gonna argue with Billy Joe Saunders when...
Where'd you put him right now?
Right now, I think Billy Joe Saunders is probably going to retire. I mean, he had a
below
bad.
average.
I mean, he would have probably been average, or he would have probably still been good. But I don't know how one returns from that kind of injury, because I think he had a multiple breaks in that orbit bone. I think it was worse than the one I had. You know, but nonetheless, you can't. Again, my bottom line is you can't pinpoint one guy and blame him for the whole sport. You can't do that. You know, because at this point, I feel like if guys don't do it, they're not only never going to be, but never going to give themselves the position to get to the elite level. They're also going to put themselves in harm's way, because a clean fighter going up against a dirty fighter is a very is a risky proposition. You know, so I think the combination of those things leaves people in a position where they have no choice.
Cool. We have 15 minutes. We're wrapping in 15, so let's try to get through. Let's
All right.
see.
We have any questions on anything?
Yeah, somebody was asking about Ennis. Where'd you put Ennis on this?
Man, he's very good. I can't put him elite yet because we haven't seen him at high level, but he's a guy I expect to be elite and possibly even GOAT. I mean, once you reach elite, then you realize just how good somebody is, right? Then, you know, but the way I see it, from what I see of him right now, he's very good on his way to elite, and my curiosity is, I think he has the potential to be a GOAT.
Zach Knapp asked that, and then Thomas donated saying he needed this, and he's got you ever's respect.
Thanks, Thomas. Appreciate it.
Cool. Okay,
Haney is a good fighter. He's got a chance to be elite as well, but I think he's a very good fighter. I know I get a lot of slack for him not saying he's not the champion, but the explanation is self-explanatory. Lomachenko asked for to be able to go unify the titles and win the undisputed lightweight title to the WBC. And so the WBC said, okay, we'll make you the franchise champion and we'll create a separate belt for the regular champion. If Lomachenko's question was he wanted to make the undisputed title unifier, and this is what the WBC's response was, that means for them to give him the okay, that means even they are acknowledging that what Lomachenko had was the priority title. Okay, and then they created a subtitle, sort of like the WBA does for Haney. So, I mean, listen, bro, if you're a fighter and you want to consider yourself a champion with that secondary title, I mean, I think you just holding yourself to a below substandard, honestly. Below, I think all fighters should hold themselves to a higher standard than that. I always say I would not have gone to Ukraine if I was fighting for the secondary version of the WBA title. I would not have fought. At that time, the super title was considered something different. You had to have a certain amount of defenses or unify it to become super champion. Now you're either super or regular. The super is always there. At that time, it was not always there. So at that time, when I went to Ukraine, it was the priority version of the WBA title. And I would not have gone to Ukraine to fight Zinchenko if I was going there for the B version of the title. I would not have done that. I would not have risked my whole career for that. For me, those two titles, when they start to make B titles in one sanctioning body, I think fighters have to hold themselves to a higher standard. I myself held myself to that kind of standard. I don't call myself a champion if I won like other minor titles. I know there are guys even in the past. I mean, guys, will win like an IBC title and say they were world champion. I don't count that those kind of things as world championships. Matter of fact, I never even fought for a secondary version of a world championship. But nonetheless,
what about Zab? Wasn't that an NABF?
No, the NABF is not a world title.
Okay.
NABF is a North American regional title that puts you in the WBC rankings. The NABF is aligned with WBC. So with that, I just feel like fighters have to hold themselves to a higher standard. I think Haney has the potential to be elite. I think he's in a fun weight class where there's going to be some some guys knocking each other off, and if they do fight each other, and that's another reason why they have to stop making all these belts, because it gives guys a reason to hold on to some kind of belt and then not fight the other guy who has the other kind of belt. If you make too many belts, guys are just going to protect what they got and not fight each other. And you're just going to enable this type of thing where guys don't fight each other.
Jamal
Charlo.
And Jamal.
Yeah, they're elite. They've been there a while. They're elite. I'm looking for the GOAT type of fight for them. I think they're even in a position where they can wind up in a GOAT situation. They've fought some good fighters. They've beaten some good fighters. Man, Jamal's got a hard one coming up with Castano, right? I mean, Castano was a rugged dude. That's a good fight, though. That's a good boxing fans fight. The first one was a good fight. Jamal too. I mean, Jamal also has a GOAT potential there. They've been around a while. They've been exciting for a while. Man, they need that one kind of opponent that like really cements them. But they may wind up, when you look back at their whole body of work, once they retire, when they're gone, you may wind up putting them both into a GOAT status.
Virgil Ortiz, a lot of people in the comments are asking.
Virgil Ortiz, to me, is just like Boots Ennis. He's a guy who's good, very good, has a potential to both be elite, and from that elite, I have some expectation to possibly wonder if he can reach that GOAT status. Once you're on the elite level, you're fighting other elite guys, you really cement yourself if you're going to wind up at GOAT status or not when it's all said and done. I think I think he's going to be. I think he's very good. I think he's going to be elite, and I think like Ennis, I think he's got potential to be GOAT status. But and it's one of those guys where not only do you wonder and predict it, but you're also excited to see the trajectory of where their career goes and how it goes, because seeing these kind of guys is exciting nonetheless.
Ryan Garcia.
Ryan Garcia. I mean, Ryan Garcia is a very good fighter. Does he want to be elite? Does he want to be a GOAT? I think it's all on the table for him if he has the desire to. I just don't know. I question it. When he beat Luke Campbell, honestly, I was super high on him, because that's not an easy fight, man. That is a very difficult fight. I was very, very impressed with the fact he beat Luke Campbell, got up off the canvas to do it. I mean, Campbell is underrated, man. That Campbell right there, honestly, because at that time, Campbell was still a dangerous guy who was not getting talked about enough. That Campbell right there, man, I felt like at that moment right there, Ryan Garcia had beaten guys that were better than both Haney and Gervonta Davis. I felt like that Luke Campbell at that moment would have beaten Haney and Gervonta Davis, So for Garcia to win that fight and get up off the canvas, I expected a lot, man. And instead, like, he's not been able to move on from that in any kind of exciting fashion. I start to question his passion, his commitment to the sport. It's not a sin. I mean, everybody listen, we all make our decisions. We all make our beds and we got to sleep in it. I just hope that years from now, if he continues on this trajectory, that years from now he's not regretting anything, because he chose to be a social media star. I'm sure he's monetizing very well. I'm sure this social media stuff, this internet stuff can make you money, but nonetheless, it also can take away from the commitment you have to the sport. I think Ryan has terrific potential, but I right now he's very good. I don't put him elite, and I wonder if he'll reach that level. We'll see.
Shakur
Stevenson.
People are asking. He's not on the thing.
Shakur is elite already, man. Shakur is elite already. 2-time world champion. Made a bunch of defenses, and I believe he's going to do very well against Oscar Valdez, which is a key win. But it also stylistically favors him a lot. So I don't know if it's going to be as impressive to me as it looks on paper, but nonetheless, you unify a title, you beat an ex-world champion, or you beat a current world champion, you still gotta be a nice resume filler. Shakur is elite and has the possibility to reach GOAT status.
Somebody just said, "What's up, Paulie? You fought my cousin, Colonel Assassin Jackson, St. Louis in the building."
Yeah, Cornell. Yeah. Yo, Cornell's a good dude, man. You know what's funny about Cornell? I didn't know he was going to be a southpaw. It was early in my career, by the way. This is my 4th pro fight. I remember about Cornell. First of all, it was the day after Thanksgiving. Okay, the fight was on my birthday. It was on my 22nd birthday. Thanksgiving was the day before. So I remember I was so pissed off at the commission because the weigh-in is supposed to be the day before, but nobody at the commission wanted to work. They wanted to have Thanksgiving Day dinner. And if I would have been able to weigh in the night before, I would have been able to have Thanksgiving Day dinner. But these scumbags didn't want to go to work, so they made all the fighters starve and were making wait. So I had to stay in my hotel room by myself on Thanksgiving and watch Thanksgiving Day football in 2001. So what happens? In the morning, I don't know Cornell's a southpaw. In the morning, he's like shadow boxing at the weigh-in, right-handed and everything. So I don't even pay attention. I'm thinking I gotta fight a right-handed guy. This guy comes out southpaw. He fought the whole fight southpaw. He was a southpaw. I just had no clue he was a southpaw, you know? I remember getting the first clinch and looking at my matchmaker, Johnny Boz, and be like, I mouthed it like, fucking southpaw, you know? Like I'm like, what is this? You didn't tell me that, you know? But, you know, we ended up winning the fight. But yeah, Cornell, man. So, say what's up to Cornell for me, man.
Shout out St. Louis.
Shout out to St. Louis.
Since we're wrapping up here, where'd you put you? Right now.
Right now, man. Right now, guys. I'm below average right now. I'm not gonna put myself in trash because I still think if I get in some kind of shape, I can beat an average guy. But I'll put myself average below average. I'm teetering average below average, depending on my motivation every day.
Who else? Is there anybody that's fighting soon? Oh, Valdez.
Valdez, good fighter, even very good fighter, honestly. If he beats Shakur, he can join the elite. I put Shakur elite already. I think Valdez's ceiling is what it is, though. So I put him at good, very good.
People are asking in the comments why there's not as many Italian fighters right now. It's because they moved out of the city.
Yeah, you know, boxing is typically a poor man's sport. Or usually, if you have other options, you're not going to choose combat. You know, it's very, very, you know, it's something that really, don't get me wrong, you've seen some guys who are well off that have become successful in boxing, but to have that kind of desire to go through the grind day in and day out and to also punish your body in combat sports, and in a combat sport where on fight night you're wearing small gloves and you're absolutely your head rocked and your body rocked all over the place, and the next day, whether you won or lost, you feel like a train hit you. It's not a sport where even middle-class people, consistent middle-class people, will join up to. If they do, they don't typically excel very far. Like, there were guys from my neighborhood that got in there, wanted to come to the gym, but it was ultimately too hard for them, and they couldn't do what I did. You know, my family was. I think my family had potential to just be a good middle class family. It's just there was a breakup in my family. There was there was some abusiveness going on when I was young. So there was a lot of rage inside me that led me to boxing. But honestly, if my family had basically, you know, there are problems in every family. If my family had acted in the way a stereotypical middle-class family acts, I don't think I would have had the brain capacity to be a fighter, because there was just so much emptiness inside me. I needed something to fill that, and boxing did that for me. It was a lot of anger inside me. But for the most part, Italian Americans and Italians in general, you know, in Italy, there's not a lot of great trainers, honestly. There's one or two, but honestly, I'm not crazy about the trainers in Italy, and I don't think they develop any of the talent. And in America, the Italian-American culture has gone up to middle class from where it used to be, which was lower class, you know. And so you saw a lot more Italian fighters at that time when the Italian-American culture was in the lower classes.
What tier would you put the Ewan Berner's girlfriend in?
No. Well, she wasn't. Honestly, I know guys want to say it. I can't affect your opinion, but you know, she was average. She was a side chick. She was average. she was a 2 in the morning chick. You know, once in a while when I saw her, you know, we hung out. If we hung out like 5 times on a regular hour, you know, most of the time she was a 2-3 a.m. I'm in New York and I'm leaving the club, and I didn't pick up anything in the club, so I'm gonna swing by and hit it. She was one of those most of the time. But honestly, I lived in LA at that time. I wasn't even in New York, so it wasn't even that much of a big deal.
All right, we got 2 minutes. Let's go through a couple shout outs. Shout out Indonesia is in the house.
Shout out to Indonesia. I've only been to Asia once in general, and it wasn't Indonesia. It was Tokyo, Japan. I had a lot of curiosity about Asia. Wanted to go so bad. I planned after retirement. I planned on making some trips there with some friends of mine. And of course, all this garbage stuff happened in the world, and I'm probably not going to wind up going.
Benavides
is good/elite, man. Honestly, he's right there already. He's got the potential to be a consistent elite. I just want to see him more consistently with a high-level opposition. I know he's chasing all the fights. He's young, and he's got a potential at his age. I mean, I think he's going to comfortably wind up in the elite status if he's not already there, and possibly compete for a GOAT status if he can get the fights he needs.
Awesome. Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
wrap up.
Beetlejuice is a GOAT in every single way fashion. Beetlejuice is my guy. I wouldn't have been able to make that first title defense without him. He got me through the hard knocks. We used to have him in the gym. I used to put him in my corner. Sometimes I used to even tell my trainer, yo, don't talk. Beat's got to talk. Well, sometimes during my sparring sessions, in between rounds, I would only let Beetlejuice talk because that's how it was when I would go over to the Passaic and PAL in Jersey to do some sparring in those days because Beat was over in Jersey with Bobby Rooney. And we had some good times, man. Now I'm hearing Beat is, he got a little bit mad at me because we were trying to promote a fight with each other. But I don't forget his GOAT status. I would never disrespect Beat like that, and let him know I'm not coming out of pocket in any way, shape, or form.
Hopefully, we see him soon.
Because one time he said it on his page. He slapped Will Smith one time.
He did slap Will Smith. Yeah.
So Beat.
Oh, you taking that? Chris Rock, Will Smith.
Will Smith. Chris Rock.
He played Ali.
Yeah. And Chris Rock played Pookie, and Will Smith played Ali. It's not even a comparison. Come on, dude.
All right, wrap it up.
All right, Bill. We'll wrap this up today. Yo, thanks for joining the live chat. I'm sorry I didn't get to more of your questions, man. Shout out to my boy Wally who put out some questions last time for some of his friends, man. We got to do this more often. When I come out to Vegas, and we'll try to do one live show every time. I appreciate you guys giving your thoughts, donating as well. I appreciate you guys. Lots of love. And if I disagreed with you guys, let me know why you guys disagree as well in the comment section. Like, subscribe, and like, subscribe, and comment.
Yeah,
right? Like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know if you disagreed in any way, shape, or form, or if you think I forgot anything. Let me know as well. All right, guys.